Okay, let me give you guys my full review of the Redmagic 8S Pro.
Wake up, Commander! It's time to get up and finish your mission!
If you're looking for an absolute powerhouse gaming phone with tons of gaming-centric features, both in terms of hardware and software, while still offering pretty much everything you need for a daily driver, including one of the most minimal but premium-looking designs on a gaming phone, look no further than the Redmagic 8S Pro. The Redmagic 8S Pro features a leading version of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor with an overclocked Adreno 740 GPU, fast LPDDR5X memory with UFS 4.0 storage, 6.8-inch AMOLED display with up to 120Hz refresh rate, and 1300 nits of peak brightness. It also has stereo speakers, an under-display fingerprint sensor, and a 6000 mAh of battery. While it may sound like an incremental upgrade from the previous Redmagic 8 Pro, there's no denying the fact that this is still one of the fastest gaming phones out in the market right now. With that said, let me give you all my thoughts. Let's get into it. Now, if you want to see my dedicated unboxing video of the Redmagic 8S Pro, check the link below. Now, with a whopping 1.6 million score in Antutu benchmark, 300k more than the previous Redmagic 8 Pro, rest assured that it can handle pretty much anything that you throw at it. May it be for productivity, social media browsing, media consumption, mobile photography, and of course, gaming. Speaking of gaming, the Redmagic 8S Pro has a ton of gaming-centric features up its sleeve, both in terms of hardware and software. In terms of hardware for gaming, like its predecessors, it also features touch-sensitive 520Hz shoulder triggers that you can customize depending on each game. As per my experience, if there's any input latency, it's barely noticeable. I appreciate this feature on games like Genshin Impact and Call of Duty Mobile. While completely unnecessary, it also has LEDs at the back that you can also customize. Besides one of the shoulder triggers, we also have a dedicated game space switch, allowing you to focus more on your gaming session than anything else. On top of that, it also has an active cooling fan and RGB lighting to go along with that, and an upgraded ICE 12.0 cooling system. Aside from that, it features a display that can go up to 120Hz refresh rate, giving you a smoother gameplay experience partnered with a dual-axis motor to provide you a stronger and more accurate vibration feedback. And aside from the powerful chipset and substantial and fast memory, it also has a decent 6000 mAh of battery for longer gaming sessions. Software-wise, the Redmagic 8S Pro offers some useful and some gimmicky features. Starting with the usual features, alongside the physical switch, we have the game space, which is a sort of all-in-one application that, as I said earlier, allows you to focus more on gaming and provides you with nifty features to get that competitive advantage. Inside the game space, you can adjust your settings individually per game, things like touch adjustments, performance modes, GPU settings, and a lot more. You can also turn on the active cooling fan here, and once you're in the game, you can also swipe from the side to toggle the game assistant with tons of useful features. You can adjust your performance modes, refresh rate, cooling fan, toggle the in-game stats overlay, and more. One of the most extensive gaming apps. But not only that, we also have some completely unnecessary and gimmicky features, but definitely interesting and fun. I'm talking about Mora, which is a sort of virtual assistant that you can play around with. The features of Mora are quite extensive that I might bore you to death with the details. But what's interesting here is that you can interact with her with various sound cues.
Surprise! Happy birthday, Commander! What?
That can also be activated automatically depending on certain scenarios like alarms and reminders.
Wake up, Commander! It's time to get up and finish your mission!
You can adjust the frequency of these sounds and animations to not get too distracting. You can also use her as an overlay for streaming, and you can even play with her in a sort of augmented reality, which is absolutely interactive. She can appear on your screen while charging your phone and remind you of your alarms. She can even tell you when you lose connection.
Why is the connection gone?
And I find it funny that she reacts whenever you touch her. Kinda weird, but there's that.
No touching, no touching! I'm warning you, Commander. You're making a risky move.
Now, moving on to a much more serious topic in terms of performance, here are all the benchmarks that I ran on the Redmagic 8S Pro so that you can check it out and possibly compare it to your current daily driver or target new smartphone. In terms of gaming, even at the highest setting and at 60 FPS, the Redmagic 8S Pro was able to handle Genshin Impact quite decently. I didn't encounter any jarring frame drops and pretty much stable at 60 FPS. In Call of Duty Mobile, I decided to prioritize the highest frame rate available over image quality as it is more important when it comes to competitive gaming, and yeah, it is pretty smooth at 90 FPS. The touch response is spot on, and the shoulder triggers prove to be a valuable option to minimize the movement of my thumbs and focus more on the movements and aiming. In Diablo Immortal, I chose 60 FPS, but unfortunately, the ultra resolution is not yet supported for this device, so I settled with 60 FPS and high graphics settings. And as expected, the gaming experience for the most part is fairly smooth. Sometimes it drops below 60 FPS, but it's barely noticeable. Although at this point, testing a gaming phone in Mobile Legends is kind of pointless now since even a potato can run this game decently, it goes without saying that the Redmagic 8S Pro can easily handle this at maximum settings available. I also tested it in Pokemon Unite, and the gaming experience is absolutely fantastic. Asphalt 9 Legends runs pretty smooth at 60 FPS, but to really take advantage of the 120Hz capability of this gaming phone, I also tested it on Real Racing 3, which is a more robust racing game that supports up to 120 FPS, and yes, the Redmagic 8S Pro was able to handle it quite well with smooth frame rates and great graphics quality. I also tried it in Vainglory, and it also supports 120 FPS with a good gaming experience as well. And lastly, in Brawl Stars, another game that supports 120 FPS, of course with less demanding graphics, the gaming experience is also very smooth. So as you can tell at this point, you can play any mobile game with the Redmagic 8S Pro at maximum settings. And after 2 hours of continuous gaming, I still have around 63% battery, which is pretty decent. In fact, as per my standard PC Mark Work 3.0 battery life benchmark, with maximum brightness and volume, but with earphones plugged in, it lasted around 12 hours and 19 minutes, which is quite outstanding. And in terms of thermals, after those gaming sessions, the temperature is only slightly above 30 degrees, which is still definitely comfortable to hold. It didn't even go above 35 degrees, which is nice. Now, in terms of the display, the Redmagic 8S Pro features a 6.8-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display with up to 120Hz refresh rate, 1300 nits peak brightness, and is protected by Gorilla Glass 5. With an under-display selfie camera and an insane screen-to-body ratio of around 93.7%, media consumption and gaming on this phone is absolutely stunning. You essentially have all the screen real estate that you need for a full viewing experience. And of course, it also has good colors, contrast, sharpness, and details with deep blacks thanks to its AMOLED panel. The stereo speakers are also pretty good as well. It has an ample amount of bass, clarity, and fullness that you won't typically get on other smartphones, especially the budget ones. The Redmagic 8S Pro. However, aside from the overclocked Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor, an improved thermal cooling solution, and a more refined aesthetic, the rest are essentially identical to the previous Redmagic 8 Pro, at least on paper. Now at this point, everything I said is purely positive, right? Well, nothing is perfect, and so is the Redmagic 8S Pro. While it has a decent set of cameras at the back, having a 50 megapixel main camera, with an 8 megapixel ultra-wide angle camera and a 2 megapixel macro camera, we still have a 16 megapixel under-display selfie camera that, even though might get some upgrades, is honestly still not ready for prime time. The selfie shots still have this sort of halation or glow effect around the edges that simply isn't flattering, especially for portrait shots. What I want Redmagic to improve here is, in case the hardware or technology itself is not yet ready, at least come up with an image processing algorithm that can fix the glow effect, if that's even possible. But yeah, this is not the main selling point of this gaming phone, so I'm not really concerned, but I definitely have to point that out. On the other hand, the cameras at the back, especially the primary 50 megapixel camera, are pretty decent, with good colors, contrast, details, and dynamic range, even in low light. But the ultra-wide angle camera in most cases produces a washed out and less detailed image with a warmer or yellowish tint, especially when compared to the images of the main camera. The macro lens is not easily accessible. You have to move the phone closer to the subject and wait for the click to enter macro mode prompt, which is kinda weird. Video quality is pretty good, but stabilization could have been better. Also, make sure to set the resolution correct in the settings to either 4K or 8K resolution, because by default, it's only at 1080p. Overall, honestly, I think the main camera is the only thing I can use here for mobile photography. And yeah, this is definitely not a strong point of this phone. Hopefully, they also consider really improving every aspect of the camera system, so you can genuinely use this as your daily driver. Now, design and construction wise, the Redmagic 8S Pro is probably the cleanest and most minimal gaming phone out on the market. I mean those smartphones that are really marketed towards the mobile gaming niche. Because as we all know, even regular smartphones with the same specs are also capable of mobile gaming. The only key difference is that gaming phones also offer additional gaming-centric hardware and software features. Going back, the Redmagic 8S Pro features a nice and sleek blocky form factor made out of a combination of aluminum and glass. And what I like about this is that in front, as I pointed out earlier, we almost have a 100% full viewing experience thanks to the slim bezels and under-display selfie camera. On the left side, we have the volume rocker and the intake ventilation. On the other side, we have the power button, a microphone, the exhaust ventilation with an active cooling fan, a couple of 520Hz shoulder triggers, and a dedicated game space switch. The fingerprint sensor is actually located under the display as well and works as intended, relatively fast and accurately. Up top, we have the secondary speaker, another microphone, and most importantly, especially for low latency gaming, a headphone jack. At the bottom, we have the SIM card tray that supports dual nano SIM cards, the primary microphone, the USB Type-C port, and the primary speaker. At the back, we now have a more refined and premium looking aesthetic, featuring a nice to the touch circular brushed aluminum finish with some gaming accents that also has RGB lighting, including the circle around the active cooling fan. And of course, we have the triple camera system. It weighs roughly around 225 grams and just feels really robust, premium, and of course, cold to the touch. As for the package contents, we have a SIM ejector pin, warranty paperwork, a transparent casing, a 65 watts power brick, and the iconic red charging cable. Overall, to conclude, as I pointed out in my intro, if you're looking for an absolute powerhouse gaming phone that can handle pretty much everything, the Redmagic 8S Pro is a pretty good candidate, especially if you don't fancy the design, features, specifications, and most importantly, the higher price of its competitors. And of course, if you don't mind its shortcomings when it comes to the camera quality. Other than that, it is built pretty well, it has a lot of useful and gimmicky gaming-centric features while still maintaining a pretty minimal characteristic both in terms of its hardware and software. At the end of the day, as usual, it'll boil down to your personal preference and of course, budget. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Honest disclaimer, this is not sponsored, but Redmagic did provide the phone for me to review. They don't have any say on this video and they'll see this at the same time as you. In fact, as far as I know, they only requested a TikTok video. But of course, I wanted to make a full review for you guys as I continue to build up my smartphone reviews portfolio. So yeah, if you're interested in this phone, I'll put some links below. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you like this, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're awesome.